Among the legendary worldwide places that define skiing, Vermont holds a hallowed and historic position. Our mountains, challenging conditions, and creative terrain are part of the reason why. But even more than that, it's a certain set of special people who've created the story of Vermont skiing. Skiing has always had its share of, shall we say, colorful characters. You couldn't make up some of the nicknames, for instance.
Sometimes people ask me, where did my father get the name Bunny? You know, it's a funny name for sort of a stern Yankee that chewed tobacco and spit in the snow, you know. He got the name from his mother. He had a little mole at the tip of his spine, like a little rabbit's tail. And so he was given that name when he was a baby, and it stuck.
Born in Rhode Island, Wallace "Bunny" Bertram graduated from Dartmouth in 1931, a zoology major with a passion for winter sports. Bunny began teaching skiing the same winter the famed Gilbert's Hill Toe went into operation. In the 1934-35 season, he helped re-rig the rope toe for greater efficiency. For the winter of 1935-36, he and Mrs. Fisk opened the Gully Ski Toes. But in 1937, Bunny had purchased Perry's pasture, sold the timber to make back some of his money, reinvested that in a rope toe, and opened the legend to be called Suicide 6. Among the many contributions that make up Bunny Bertram's legacy is his impact on youth racing. He brought the Dartmouth ski team to train at Suicide 6, pioneered the first NASCAR-style race down the face of SycE, supported the Woodstock ski runners, and, along with his wife Betty, helped to form the Mid-Vermont Ski Council for Young Racers in 1956.
He was good to the high school ski team. He built a jump right over there because the high school needed a jump for the 4 events. And he built that out of his own pocket for free so that we would have a jump and could have 4 events here. He just did an awful lot for the kids.
I remember he was cutting the Skyline Trail, and during lunch break afterwards he'd say, "Come on, girls, let me see you shinny up these trees." And they were, just these saplings. And he'd give us a boost and we'd start shinnying up the trees, and then he would pull them down to the ground and let them go, and we go flying back and forth like this. He was fun. He was fun.
He holds a record that may never be broken. He did his first downhill race in 1927, his last in 1990. 63 years of racing. No wonder the United States Ski Association calls Albert F. SycE the father of masters skiing. A Harvard-educated MIT professor who worked on the development of radar, Albert SycE made his way to Mount Washington, where he lived year-round and worked as an engineer in the early days of radio. But it might have been ski racing that brought him his greatest joy. Albert and his brother Hub got started skiing on a hill behind their house in Medford, Mass. Both Harvard men, they helped to found the Schussverein Ski Club, arguably the second oldest ski club in the United States, whose first home was in Woodstock.
We went to a Dartmouth Outing Club cabin, and the fellow that owned the property, we'd booze him up a little bit. And he'd say, "You fellas are Harvard fellas, so I'm a Harvard fella. I'll give you a house. I've got a house down the road, and you could fix it up, and it would be very nice." That's how the Schussverein got started.
Albert made every national championships event he could, making the long drive out west each year with his wife Susie. In order to make good time, he and Susie would switch drivers every hour while the car was moving. Not something recommended in your typical driver's ed class, but perhaps not such a dangerous move to a man who pioneered slalom turns in the days of wooden skis. Among the many contributions he leaves behind is the SycE Cup, an annual Masters event Albert and friends started in 1971 and is continued to this day by New England Masters Ski Racing.
Al was an enthusiast about whatever he was doing. He made it fun. And even all that racing was fun with Al. I remember one time we raced up at Wildcat and we got down on the bottom and I said, well, Al, that's a great day. And Al said, what do you mean a great day? That's just the start. We're heading over to Mad River. And we climbed into the car and went over to a race in Mad River. So we had a lot of fun together.
Albert Syce's dedicated effort to skiing, his enjoyment of all things competitive and outdoors, his willingness to try anything, and his unyielding optimism live on in his family and in SycE Cup racers. If there's one constant in skiing, it's variety. In skis, in terrain, in weather, and in individuals. Mike Gallagher's career personified variety. He was an accomplished downhill skier in his youth, racing against Billy Kidd. But when Nordic skiing called, Mike was hooked for life.
So I did start out as an alpine skier, and it took me a long time to. Everybody loved alpine skiing, and they had the status. And then I was just starting cross-country skiing, and Joe Jones from Rutland said, this guy's going to be a great cross-country skier someday. So John Caldwell had me invited to a Christmas ski camp down in Putney, and I went out with these guys who were trying out to make the World Championship team, and I was hanging with them and beating them on hills on these training runs. And I went, oh my goodness, this sport is available to you, dude.
He made the 1962 Olympic training squad and competed in his first Olympics in 1964. But cross-country skiing in the United States was virtually unknown at the time. Mike and his teammates put the world on notice that the Americans were a force to be reckoned with in cross-country skiing. Mike became head U.S. cross-country ski coach from 1980 to 86 and Olympic coach for the 1980, 84, and 92 teams.
There were so many things in '82 where, I did win the World Cup, but I didn't really do it just all on my own. It was because of skating, because of Nowak's, and because of Mike Gallagher. I was really having a deep conflict with the U.S. ski team, and it was just tearing me up. I said to Mike, I'm going home. This is it. No, stay, and we were just starting to skate too, and I said, okay, I'm gonna stay one more weekend and see what happens, and I'll wait and decide to then. And the next one I won, and then I won a few more after that. Mike totally defended me as an athlete, and he just totally believed, he just knew that I could win that World Cup. We won that World Cup together. So,
Mike retired from the national scene to coach high school cross-country skiing, which he did for 17 years while also teaching skiing at Mountaintop Inn and Mountain Meadows. Skier, innovator, Olympian, coach. Mike Gallagher's varied career has enriched Vermont skiing in many ways. When Donna Weinbrecht returned for her second semester at Ridgewood School of Art and Design, she found that her school had closed. She promptly turned around and went to Killington. Here, Donna was exposed to mogul skiing on outer limits. She turned her artistic eye to finding rhythm in the moguls.
Well, when you come up to a trail or a course or something, in the beginning where there wasn't a line, you really kind of find pace and rhythm, and it's how to technically go into something like that and making it part of you and expressing how you go down.
The art world might or might not have lost a new talent, but the skiing world got itself a freestyle superstar. Without a coach, without specialized camps, even without a team, through her dedication and daring, Donna made the U.S. ski team in 1988 and would lead the U.S. freestyle team to gold in 1992.
Donna didn't go out and say, I'm going to beat these girls. She said, why can't I do what the guys are doing? She tried to raise her game by mimicking and copying and doing what the guys were doing. And that always had her way ahead of it. Her determination on top of her skill, she was just in a different galaxy from everybody.
Competing in the first Olympics with freestyle skiing and winning the first gold medal, allowed Donna to honor the founders of her sport and her team that had supported her growth as an athlete.
I just felt very blessed that, there was people that came before me that never got to go to the Olympics, and I felt that there was this legacy, and, you wanted to, represent the best, and just the ceremonies and the medal was just so special. It was beautiful, beautiful time, yeah. I'm all serious.
Donna ended her career as the most decorated mogul skier in history, winning 5 World Cup mogul titles, 46 World Cup victories, 7 U.S. national titles, 1 World Championship gold, and 2 World Championship silvers. Donna Weinbrecht made the White Hills of Vermont her canvas, and her body of work remains on permanent exhibit in the halls of Olympus and elsewhere. Born in the heart of ski country in Woodstock, Phil Camp studied marketing and communications at Boston University. Back in 1959, that and a reference from Bunny Bertram apparently could get you a job at a place then known as Killington Basin, and thus began a career that would see Phil bring a host of innovations to the ski world.
And I went over there kind of on a whim, and they were so impressed. Here was a college guy with a real degree in communications. He must be exactly what we're looking for. They didn't. I had no credentials. They hired me the first day, that same day, for $35 a week, plus stock. And I might add that after about a year, I got a raise. I think it was up to $60 a week.
He started the first ambassadors program, putting loyal Killington skiers to work in their hometowns, raising awareness and breeding more Killington skiers. If you've gotten wet at a spring skiing contest, you can thank Phil for inventing pond skimming. In the meantime, Phil helped Killington become the largest ski area in New England. Before founding his own marketing consulting business, he also worked at Sugarbush, where he launched one of the most successful marketing campaigns in ski history, the Paint a Gondola contest. Phil has produced countless newsletters and other publications such as the Ski Area News Service, the Travel Information Center, Northeast Wire Service, Killington Ski Scene, PR Newswire, and Media Bank.
It was a nonprofit trade association, which I thought should be called the New England Ski Areas Council. And it would establish standards for ski reporting, for gathering information, for tabulating it, for communicating it to the media and then on to the consumer. I converted my 2-car garage in Woodstock into an office where I had old-fashioned teletype machines that we borrowed from Western Union, and we started the system.
Among his other contributions, Phil also served on the Vermont Development Commission on the Vermont Committee for the Montreal Expo in 1967. As executive director of the Eastern Ski Areas Association, and as chief press secretary for Alpine events at the 1980 Olympics, where being assigned the U.S.-Soviet Union hockey game could be considered being in the right place at the right time. To paraphrase the old saying about a tree falling in the forest, if a skier hauls in the woods and nobody's there to see it, don't worry, Phil Camp will tell the story. How's it possible for a place where the mountains don't get any higher, or steeper, or snowier to grow in legend with the passing of time? It's because of the people who come along and one day look up at Vermont's mountains and decide they too have something to add to the ongoing story.